What's up, guys? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and wanted to go into today's games. We had a good day, I'd say, by almost every metric. We did well today, and I wanted to go into tonight's game as well. There's also one thing I wanted to go into. It's been requested for a while, actually, and I did like a buy me a coffee too. I thought it would be essentially the same thing, but a lot of people are mentioning Patreon and specific videos, things like that, more videos, things of that nature, and I did finally get one set up. I basically made it's threefold. The first reason is this channel is never going to be eligible for monetization. I mean, it meets all the requirements, things of that nature. The problem is, I got shut down last time the second a human reviewed my account, and I got literally no reason. It just said likely spam. You might have violated the guidelines, and I appealed it immediately, emailed them back, got nothing, so I had to make another, and that's why this one, I'm not going to take any chance of them shutting down. So anyway, I figured I would try to buy me a coffee. I didn't realize Patreon did have a lot more utility as far as being able to drop different types of videos early, do polling, things like that. So what I'm doing there, for all the people that did sign up with the buy me a coffee, if it's a pain to switch over all that stuff, I could just send you a free membership or something of that nature. So it'd be like, you're not changing. But if it's easier for you to do it that way, that's fine. But I can do everything I do on my buy me a coffee on a Patreon and a little bit more. And like I said, it's threefold. The second reason is there are so many sports now that it's almost impossible to get every single video out. For tomorrow, we got two different sports I want to cover. We got the NFL and the NBA, the in-season tournament. I haven't been able to cover the college basketball that as much as I've wanted to in videos. So again, anyone that basically just for the purpose of tailing, because I do tennis, golf, all that stuff. I'll be posting all that on there, and it'll be more of I also want to do an exact recap, so where I'm charting everybody that is tailing exactly how much they are putting out. For each bet I put out how much units is going to be, and then how much we earned. So every night there'll be like a recap. So it'll be a little easier to do like a video recap of just every single pick together and going over exactly how much people profited. So mostly for the people that want to just tail, obviously if you want to just show support, or if you want to request particular videos, things of that nature, you join the Discord either way, but you get a special role, live action, that kind of stuff as well. You'll get all that, but for the most part, it's for the system and for people that want to tail the system. Like I said, there's so many different sports I'm trying to cover now, it's pretty insane. So I'll probably, for the people tailing on there, have a video each week just completely exclusive to exact picks, and even if it crosses 5 different sports, I'll cover it. I also want to start getting videos out during when the lines open, because the lines do change a lot. So I'll be posting all that stuff a little bit early on there. Now that's over with, like I said, it's just one means of, since I can't monetize, and there's a bunch of people that already support me. That's why I figured if I can offer a little more, which I know I can on Patreon, I'll just go ahead and do that. When I first saw it, I'm not gonna lie, it looked kind of cringe. It's like, oh, you get these stickers, and you can send a message and I'll respond to you, and we can have a video call, and it just seemed like these self-entitled perks where it's like I shouldn't be charging for those things. Who the hell am I? So some of the stuff I do like, and I think it's got some utility to it. And again, with my system, if you're not making whatever the amount is, I try and make it where at least at the end of the day, people are profiting with the system. So you could always see if the system's working for you first too. But I did find it kind of weird, some of the perks. They didn't seem like that much. I'm surprised some of these people, like, what they want for stupid things, like to respond to a message. I think it's very entitled and egotistical. But I also do think it offers more options than the buy me a coffee. I can make it a lot easier and do videos instead of, right now I put out posts and stuff because that's all you can really do on there. So anyway, I just wanted to go in that. I'll attach the link. And like I said, basically everything I went over, and then we'll be doing some different unique videos that I haven't been able to go into yet. As far as today, we had a good day. Nothing crazy. I think we finished 7-4. Every play we did was one unit. So we had the Chargers covering, which they covered in epic fashion. What a ridiculous game. Again, my theory is Bill Belichick is getting a very rough treatment. And they're going to get the last pick in the draft for Caleb Williams. And to me, it's looking like that definitely might happen. I don't know how you score a collective 6 points in a non-rigged league. I don't know how you could. Like, especially because there's only like one turnover this game. It wasn't like one of your traditional games where they sell the under, or sell the over, and they get to like the 30-yard line, take a sack, punt the ball. It's almost routine. You can see exactly how they're selling the over-under. But anyway, what a ridiculous game. We got the cover, so obviously I'll take it. But again, just a ridiculous game. I really think they're trying to make the Patriots just look awful. Again, somebody posted this a long time ago on my page. I forget exactly how they put it. Something of the effect, they never let living legends stay living legends. Basically, they're not like they don't let legends live. They're not recognized as legends until they die. So whether it was Michael Jordan going to the Major League Baseball and embarrassing himself, or going to the Bobcats and embarrassing himself, whether it's Peyton Manning, the last year he had that steroid scandal. You have worse things like what happened to Kobe. I've gone into that in the past. Probably one of the reasons they don't love my channel, and a human shut it down when they did the review process. I was doing a lot of those types of videos. But Tiger Woods, you name it, there's really nobody you can think of in sports that they've let live be a living legend. Something has happened to them, and again, Belichick's no different. I think he's just getting that now. I think they're doing some kind of passing of the guard. I want to go into that in a video too, with coaches. Deion's coming up. We got Bill falling out. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Alabama. I'll be going into that. That's very comical. I do genuinely feel bad for a lot of these. I mean, just because we have fun and things of that nature, because we do believe it's scripted, and I think we have a lot of facts to back that up. I still do feel bad for these people that do think it's real. If you're a Florida State fan, that's got to be a kick in the nuts, watching what happened. And I should have seen Bama winning coming. I really should have. Look how Eric Bischoff, the wrestling promoter, I should say, had a famous quote in a book called "Controversy Creates Cash," and it does. So when you have this happening now, you better believe it's going to create some cash. People are going to be tuning in just to watch Bama lose. And not to make this too long-winded, like I said, there's so many different sports I like to cover, but a couple weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, the quarterback for Bama said something quite interesting. And when I heard him say it, I wondered, why the hell is he saying that? He made a touchdown throw, and they won a game. And he said, "Give me the Heisman. Give me that Heisman." And it was just weird. It seemed like it came out of nowhere. He was really calm, and then he just came out of nowhere. Like the second the cameras hit him, and he's screaming. And I'm thinking, this man's got no chance at Heisman. He was benched for two different quarterbacks. He's nowhere near the numbers. Obviously, he's not going to win it. But maybe he was indicating something else. I don't know. Maybe they do win the whole thing. I don't think they do. But I did find that to be interesting. So I wanted to mention that before I forgot about it. But back to NFL. Yeah, I think there's some kind of passing of the guard moment here. Bill Belichick's definitely getting some humility. He used to talk about the humble pie, if you remember. I think he's having himself a nice serving of that. But I still think he's going to get Caleb. And I think he's going to get some love. And to me, it just wouldn't make sense. You have an opportunity to put Caleb on the Patriots with Belichick. Caleb's dad said how he wanted to be on a good franchise. Obviously, the Patriots are a respected franchise, so I think that's what's going to happen, and I think it's going to help us going forward, knowing who's going to get it and who's not. So we got that cover. Missed the Steelers, obviously, had them covering. Just figured that this is the type of game they would win, but also I could see a lot of the public being on Pittsburgh, so not a shocker we lost it. These were all for one unit, by the way. We only played a few for more than one unit. We lost the Titans. I had them winning straight up. I thought they were going to do something with Will Levis. But I guess they're going to do the old get him molded into the system, finish with a losing record, get another top pick, top 7 pick, something like that. So Titans probably going to lose a good bit going forward. Got the Texans. Stroud's too hot right now. I really feel like the the mainstream narrative behind Stroud is just a little bit different than a lot of other rookies that do well in their rookie year. And the Texans in general, they came out of nowhere, and nothing's really slowing them down. So I'm not going to lie, they were one of the few in the AFC teams that I'm definitely wrong on, because the beginning of the year, I did not have the Texans in the playoffs. Now, I didn't have the Chargers in the playoffs. I don't think I had the Bengals in the playoffs. I do have the Jets in there. And the other team that I had in there, beginning of the year, was actually the Raiders. Now, I like to reassess and be honest. So a few weeks ago, when it was obvious they weren't doing anything with the Raiders, I did flip the Raiders for the Broncos. So that was my most recent pick. Now this week I took the Texans, because as the weeks progress, it's looking more like the Texans than the Broncos. So I'm not a guy to say, I'm going to keep flip-flopping. But if I'm wrong on something, I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to, sit there and this team's 4-8, and I'm like, oh no, they're going to make a run. I have to be honest and call it as I see it. So AFC, a couple changes. The NFC, not much. The only one that we really changed was we had the Lions beginning of the year. We had the Niners doing great. We had the Cowboys. We had the Eagles. We had the Falcons winning the South because of Dion. The Giants were the one team I had getting in, because I thought the entire NFC East might get in. So I was looking at the Giants, Commanders. And a few weeks ago, that one I amended. I still like the Rams over the Seahawks, in case you were wondering. I'll do another playoff video though soon. I'm sure people would like to see a new one. But not to go too deep into it, a lot of our playoff picks are looking good, some not looking too good. Saints, we missed that one. We had the cover, unfortunately. They almost got the backdoor, but not quite. And we missed the Jets. Now this one, I have the Falcons winning the division. I think that's probably my hottest take of the year. And they were only like plus 260. They weren't heavy underdogs to win the division. But now they're about 50-50 to win the division. And again, I think Bijan Robinson, the fact that they want to push this narrative that running backs are not obsolete, and the fact that Dion played for him. I get he played for the Commanders, so that theory kind of goes out the window. But technically, he never played for the Commanders, if you think about it. So, also Atlanta was his first team. Now, we just had FSU get eliminated in a weird fashion, and that was his college team, obviously. So you do wonder if they're going to do something with the Falcons. But anyway, I had the Jets winning this week. Rodgers is returning. I'm expecting a win streak for the Jets, so we took that L today, but I think we'll do good on the Jets going forward. And we finished out pretty strong. Dolphins, I thought, was going to be a narrative game where they just pounded the Commanders, who clearly they're not doing anything with. So we got that. We got the Panthers cover. This was a rarity. I had posted the over-under for this game, too, on my Discord and such. And I went with the over. And I think the over-under was 37.5 or 38. And the spread was 3.5 points. Obviously, we had the Panthers covering. I went over that in my video. But rare to catch both the over-under and the spread, the good side of the hook. Usually we get hooked, and it's always nice to get not just one, but both of them. So we got that. The cover, to me, was just my favorite play. If you watch my last video, that's the only one we played for 4 units. It was a leg 3 for 4 units. Just really loved it, and we got that, of course. Niners, that was the only one we played for. The rest were 2. The rest of these were 1 unit. The only 2 that were for 2 units or more was, again, the Panthers cover, and we got the Niners covering for 2 units. ESPN put out a very weird article saying the Eagles are the first team in history that are 10-1 with an active quarterback at home, and they're underdogs of 3 points or more. Like, what a ridiculously contrived statistic. You see them all the time. It's like, Mahomes is 14-1 when he's at home after eating a bologna sandwich 10 minutes after taking a shit, and when the opposing backup safety has an injured hangnail. Like, the way they go out of their way for these stats is definitely, I think, to psyop people, just to have people thinking a certain way. And I think when that article came out, people were just thinking, wow, I can get the who should be favorite Eagles with their 10-1 record at home as underdogs. Sign me up. And you're looking at minus 160 versus plus 130, 140. It's a big swing. I mean, for somebody trying to get good odds, you're going to have way more money on the Eagles. So, also it's a revenge game, of course, from the playoffs last year. So, Niners made sense to me. So we got that one, and the Panthers were two big, real big plays that we wanted to hit. Our Rams just didn't seem obvious, but I thought people were going to, again, just see Flacco and assume that they were going to make this marked improvement, which obviously they didn't. I think they're going to keep all. If the Browns had won this game, I think it would have made it really tough to give the Jets a chance at a run here. Now the Jets, some other teams can stay in contention. If you looked mathematically, the only team eliminated is the Panthers. So, to me, this is and the Rams winning made sense on the other. If you look at the other aspect, because now they're hanging right in there with the Seahawks and teams in the NFC. And speaking of those teams, are at best we only did one money line, and it was this game, and we did get it, which was nice. The Packers, I had a feeling they were going to win, and it was mostly because they said how Mahomes has done it all, but he's never won in Lambeau. Lambeau is a very storied franchise, very storied fan base, and I didn't think they were just going to give Mahomes that this quickly. If they didn't go out of their way to say that he hasn't done it, then I probably wouldn't have thought much of it. Probably still would have liked the Packers, but maybe not as much. But when they go out of their way to say things like that, again, they're not going to let this guy just run through every record in his first several years. It took Brady a long time to do it. It's going to take Mahomes a long time to do a lot of these things. So he finished off really strong. There wasn't many 4 o'clock games, but we got all the 4s. We got the night game. Finished 7-4, which I'll definitely take, especially with, again, we had a plus 200 money line in here. I really wanted to play this one for more than one unit, but when you're working with money lines and things of that nature, we're playing a lot of games, 11 different games at once. I didn't want to have too many units in play, so it was about an 8-unit profit day because, again, we're going to profit 4 units for the Panthers cover, we're going to profit 2 units for the Niners cover, and we're going to profit 2 units for the Packers win alone. And then we had, again, about a 70% something hit rate. So that's typically what we aim for. It's typically about what we do. There's weeks where we'll have down weeks, of course, but the goal is basically, and the system that I use, if you don't know, it's just leg 1, leg 2, leg 3, 1 unit, 2 units, 4 units. I go into it in a lot of my videos in excruciating detail. We can do about a 50% hit rate and profit multiple units a day. And then when we do about 70% like today, we're closer to a 10-unit profit, which is always nice. So, obviously, we want to continue this. And speaking of that, we have the Bengals at Jags. And to me, this is a perfect game to continue it. So, you got Burrow out. But I went into this in my last video. They just played a pretty close game against Pittsburgh. Baltimore's a tough team. Close game against Houston. And they had the huge win streak before that. Jacksonville just pulverized one team. And I don't even think they pulverized them. I think they made a run towards the end of it. Let me see where they're at here. What did they do? Yeah, they were beating the Texans pretty bad. Oh no, the Titans they did pull. That's who it was. And then the Texans, they were up a couple scores, and the Texans almost made a comeback. So it's not like the Jags have done something to make me think they should be 10-point favorites. And I think way more of the public's going to be on the Bengals here. Oh, they can get the upset just because they don't have Burrow. They played with a couple games without him. Again, it's a 10-point line. It's not like the Jags are out here wrecking teams. And I don't think the people are as into the Jags as they are into the Lions as far as really believing that they're a powerhouse. Again, just like the Dolphins was today, technically yesterday, I think this Jags game is going to be a message game. So it's going to be a game to show that the Jags are a team that can put the beat down and give somebody a good prison pounding. So I like the Jags here for the cover. I like them to cover the 10. Moved from 9.5 to 10. So definitely worthwhile getting in before it might move to 10.5. Not saying it's definitely going to happen, but I always try and look out for those things. So, and here's another thing. If you look at these articles, almost every article now is This just was not the case before, and I get it's because it's a growing industry, but the fact that every article is who we should bet on, how much you would have won if this is on YouTube now. If you go to ESPN Bet, how much you would have won if you bet on this team, how many of the public is betting on this team, what the odds were and what they are now on this team. You can't tell me these people wouldn't go out there and script games when they're actively trying to tell people who they should bet on, why. Again, these are supposed to be ESPN analysts who review the sport. So why is Tyler Fulgham getting paid? What is he getting paid to do? Like, I try and question these things, and I think it's important because it just shows that these people are obviously planting seeds, and in my opinion, just trying to get people to bet a particular way. I bet you Joe Mixon has a horrible game. Probably has like 6 yards and 2 fumbles. But yeah, I like the Jags to cover this game, and it's going to be a leg 3 for 4 units. Okay, so it's our only other leg 3 of the week. It's a bigger play, but when you're laying that many points, again, it doesn't always work out. Obviously, I had Oregon covering, did not work out. They didn't even win. But I'm going to stick to the metrics, and more often than not, you're going to have somebody going for the plus 400 odds here, or going for the 10 points with a team that was just in playoff contention versus a team that they've been in playoff contention all year, but they've had an easier schedule, haven't really beat great teams, and just they've looked average. I don't see why the public would be on Jacksonville giving up 10 points. So I love Jacksonville minus 10. It's going to be a leg 3 for 4 units. And I'm going to go into my NBA picks now because there's just 2 games. And I try and do this with my videos as often as I can. And it's just sometimes you have like 10 NBA games, a couple football. Again, college basketball, there's a bunch of those picks. That's the reason I thought, for the people that really want to just get all my picks, I'll just go ahead and do some extra videos and see how that works out with the Patreon. Now, this is an interesting one because, again, there's a lot of times I'm way off the target. I'm the first to admit it. And then there's times I feel like I'm over the target. In this case, goodness, I wish I knew the odds on this prediction because I didn't look at the odds on this prediction. Just when I heard there was going to be an NBA in-season tournament, my mind went straight to the Intercontinental Championship in WWE. And I thought, okay, they're establishing this so they can give a mid-carder a championship. Because the Pacers are never going to win the NBA Finals. The Kings are never going to win the NBA Finals. It's going to be a team like the Celtics. It's going to be a team like the Mavericks. It's going to be a team like the Lakers even, the Nuggets, the Sixers. It's going to be a team with more marketability. I don't think these small teams are winning the NBA Finals. Maybe every several years, like we had the Raptors do it. The Nuggets, sure, but they have the best guy in the world, one of the most marketed guys in the world, so they're not really an outlier. My point is, the 2 teams that I had they're playing tonight, and the Pacers were my pick to win the whole thing. They still are. I don't know why. The second I saw the tournament, I saw their court, the way they were talking about Halliburton. And again, the fact that I think this is the equivalent of the Intercontinental Championship, which again is a mid-card championship. They do it so they can have more than one main draw. I think it makes a lot of sense here for the Pacers to win it. So I like the Pacers to win outright against the Celtics in this knockout. I think it's a knockout game, so the winner goes to the semis. And since the Kings were a team that I thought made a lot of sense coming, now to be honest, the Pelicans make sense too. Both of these teams make sense. They're both mid-card teams. That being said, the Kings, in my opinion, their team is way more well-cultured, in my opinion. So I think they want to reserve this in-season tournament victory for a well-cultured team. You look at the Pacers, it's all love. And they're really pushing that this year with a lot of players, a lot of teams. You got the Thunder, it's all love. Outside of Giddey, maybe a little too much love coming from him. And you kind of look at how they treat Giddey versus Ja. I understand a lot of it's hearsay right now. But it does just show in my opinion, where the minds of, again, Disney, this is Disney, we have to remember, is at. Remember, Ja technically never committed any crimes, 25-game suspension. What Giddey's being accused of is pretty bad, and I haven't really heard them saying a word about him. Again, it's all about optics. They want things to look a certain way. They want people to look away from certain things, use semantics, whatever the case may be. And I think that's why Giddy's getting a slap on the wrist here. You're not even hearing about him in what is, a crime, sexual assault, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, I just thought that was a little bit interesting. And it happened with Dwight Howard not that long ago, where he was in the news for basically doing. I don't know if it was illegal. I think it was. I think he was forcing people to do sexual acts. They found out he was doing some weird stuff, and there wasn't much talk about that. But he got hit really hard because he's a fake gangbanger. So I just look at the inconsistent penalties, the inconsistent treatment, and there's a lot of shady things. That all being said, the Grizzlies are going to be fun to take going forward because they're already doing polls. Can Ja save the season? Things like that. So yeah, Pacers to win outright. I love it. You're getting about 200 on this, which 170, 180. It depends on your book. It really depends on your book. But it's good plus odds. And I like the Kings. I'm going to take them for the cover. As you know me, I almost never take a minus 200, a minus 150. I don't like getting juiced. And I like the cover. I think they're going to have the Kings, Fox. Fox just signed that deal with Curry. That shoe deal. He's the face of his shoe deal. To me, Fox versus Halliburton would sell. People would love to see it. It would be fresh. It would be different. Celtics versus Pelicans even, or Celtics versus whoever the hell's still in it. Lakers. Just doesn't make sense to me for the in-season tournament. I think they want to get fans of other fan bases hyped up. Pacers, again, Kings, Thunder, all these different teams. T-Wolves make sense too. Maybe that's why they started off so strong, so they can do well in the in-season tournament. But I'm going to stick with my initial gut, which was Pacers win the whole thing. So I'm going to take Pacers to win. That's going to be a leg 2 for 2 units. And the Kings cover is going to be a leg 2 for 2 units. So nothing too difficult to remember there. Both leg 2s, both 2 units. I do have both home teams winning. The difference is I got the Pacers on the money line and I got the Kings on the cover. So I think we're going to do good. I tried to really look at this tournament, and again, another reason I think it's going to be more predicated around whatever you want to call them, likable teams, the teams that feel more like they're, again, well-cultured and not a bunch of superstars, is everybody on the winning teams getting a $500,000 reward compensation. And I just don't see people looking at the Celtics and saying, it's so inspiring to see Jason Tatum earn that $500,000. Oh, and Porzingis, and don't forget about Jaylen Brown. He doesn't have enough money. These guys just got record-setting contracts, and I know Halliburton just got locked up for a lot. But you have a lot of players like Bruce Brown. You got guys like Mather, and you got guys like Buddy Hield, that I think people are going to be very happy to see. Oh man, this guy deserves it. His he only makes $1.5 million a year, and he just got $500,000. And then I think it's going to get a lot of fans behind certain players, certain teams, I should say. So I tried looking at it from almost every angle, and someone brought up the possibility of like a Lakers winning it because it's the first one, it's the inaugural one. So you could have LeBron be the first guy to be an NBA champ, an in-season champ. You can call it the Triple Crown, I guess. And he's won the MVP, things like that. I could see that argument, but I think they're reserving the in-season tournament for, again, a mid-card team. A team that's definitely not going to win the finals, but they can win here, and they're now saying how the Pacers are breaking basketball. There's a lot of hot buzz going around for the Pacers, so it's kind of the reason I liked them before, like when I first saw they were doing this tournament, and I'm just going to stick with them. And on the West, it was more of a just hypothetical, but every time I was like, yeah, the Kings make sense. And here we are in the quarterfinals, and they're looking pretty good. Like I said, the West is for me, a little more difficult because the Timberwolves are still in there. You have a lot of teams that fit the prerequisites that I'm talking about, whereas in the East, I think it's just the Pacers are just right there in plain sight. So that's my logic. You can let me know what you think. If you think that, it's going to be a bigger team or whatever the case may be, if you think the Pacers don't make sense or another team makes more sense, obviously let me know. I love going over everyone's perspective and trying to come up with the best possible theory as far as what they're going to do there. But those are my two picks there. Again, both for 2 units, leg 2. Again, if you saw my videos, you know how my sequences work. We play a leg 1 for 1 unit. If it misses, we play a leg 2 for 2 units. So those 2 plays can be for 2 of our losses here. Just say for our Lions loss and our Jets loss, our leg 2s are going to be those 2 basketball plays for 2 units. And then we got the Jags covering as a leg 3 for 4 units. And again, we can just plug that in for any leg 2 losses that we have outstanding, whether it's from last week or a couple days ago. I try my best to go over every single play. Like, I try and show the chart every video, but again, it's very tedious. That's why I thought that's something I exclusively do on my Discord. I try and do where every day, if it's not every day, it's at least every couple days, for the Buy Me a Coffee section, I'll post exactly where we stand for the week, how much we profited on the year. I try and do it daily. It's tedious to type out, but I have got this chart on my phone now where it's pretty cool. It'll be a lot easier to just track your profits. Basically, I want to make it where people can just tail picks. If they have 2 minutes and that's all they have, they can just, watch. I'll be putting out a video where we do all of our picks, however many units they're worth, and someone can just tail them and then just look at the chart and see exactly where they're at the end of every day, week. So I tried to make it as convenient as possible, and we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I just thought it'd be a little more exclusive and more utility if I move it over to Patreon, and anyone that's on the Buy Me a Coffee, like I said, I'll get you a free membership or however you want to do it, or if you just want to switch over there. And anyone that isn't currently a part of it, if you want to be a part of it, like I said, I post all my college basketball plays on there. I try and post all the high metric plays where you have teams that are 10% against the spread. Sometimes it takes some digging. I have to find, and it's like, oh, here's, Long Beach State versus LIU, and both teams are 10% to the over. Nobody wants to see that on the YouTube video about LIU versus Long Beach State, but it's a very good high metric play if you're tailing picks exclusively and you just want to profit. So that's why a lot of the college basketball I haven't been doing on here, and hockey, things like that. There's tennis, all that different stuff. So really, I'm an insomniac, so it kind of works out a lot of times around this time and well into the night is when I'll do my college research picks and stuff like that. But I wanted to go into that. I didn't want to spend too much time on it, but I figured I'd go ahead and launch it because, like I said, there's no chance of monetization here. And when I'm trying to cover multiple sports, it is time consuming, and it's not that I mind doing it, but I thought it'd be a nice way, especially for people that want different videos. There's people that have asked me to do more videos on Kobe, videos on Tom Brady, videos on old playoff games, what I think they're doing with certain coaches, owners, all that different stuff. So there'll be polling options. There'll be more videos that aren't just picks, but going into way more things. And I think people will enjoy it. And for the people that are already, like I said, on the Buy Me a Coffee, it'll be, as far as the picks, I'm going to condense everything. So every pick that we'll be making will be just in a video. It'll be very simple, and we'll be doing our recaps where I try and make it. I'm not going to try and mince words. So if we had a rough day, it's going to be calculated at the end of the night, and if we had a really good day, it'll be calculated at the end of the night. Total units profited or lost. And then again, I think it makes it a little easier for people to tail. It's like having a stock, and you can just watch it every night instead of having to do a bunch of crap. So we'll see how that works out. I'll post a link here. But yeah, as far as tonight, I think we're going to continue. Finish 8-4 is what it'll be, and that would be very nice, of course. I think the Jags are going to cover, and it would put us about a double-digit unit profit for this week in the NFL. Because like I said, we're about 7 units at profited right now. So obviously, if the Jags cover, we'll be at 11. And I think they're going to get the cover for us. And then with NBA, I think we're going to do well over there too. So yeah, like I said, let me know if you disagree, if you think the Bengals are going to pull it off, or if you think in the NBA it's going to be Celtics-Lakers. I know a lot of people are saying that. That's actually my early finals prediction. I know it sounds so obvious and so goofy, whatever you want to say. I wouldn't have had it if it wasn't. Now I don't think Bronny's going to be this big deal in the NBA. I had this theory that he was going to win his first championship when LeBron won his last, like next year, and then LeBron would retire. But I'm starting to think if they're going to give it to LeBron now. You look at the commonalities between the Lakers, Celtics. They both made championship moves. They both have revenge game opportunities, Drew Holiday versus the Bucks, LeBron versus the Nuggets. A lot of it does make sense in my opinion. I think they got to get him to 5 eventually. No way he's going to be retired the same amount of rings as Steph Curry. So I like them to win the whole thing. Well, at least to get there this year. And most likely, they'd probably win it. But if it's them and the Celtics, I had done my video on right now where I stand if they were to meet up. I'm looking at the Mavs. I'm looking at some other teams. Really not looking at the Bucks. Really not looking at the Suns. But hopefully I don't have it reversed. And it's not, Lakers Celtics in-season tournament and then the finals is something completely different. But like I said, the way they've introduced this, I think the in-season tournament is 100% going to be the Intercontinental Championship. I'm just waiting for them to introduce tag team championships, Oh, we got the Suns and the Lakers against the Nuggets and Mavs tonight, like something like that. Just because they have no shame in hiding how much they like to emulate the NFL. So, I'm sorry, the WWE. Both the NFL and NBA love to emulate the WWE. So yeah, those are our 3 plays, the 2 NBAs and the Jags cover. Tomorrow I'll be going into, we have obviously more bowl games coming up. I could go into them. It's not too much. I'm going to have to see what they're saying about Alabama. Right now they're obviously being established as complete heels. You have our 2 heels, right? Michigan, who cheats, and Alabama, who kind of got handed a playoff spot. And then you have your 2 white-hot baby faces. You have, was it Texas, who came out of nowhere, and everyone loves Quinn Ewers, and Washington, who obviously Penix keeps defying history. They're undefeated, but they're being pushed as an underdog. People are going to want to see Alabama lose just because other teams they feel like should have got in got hosed. So it's going to be very, very controversial, but I think it's going to be high ratings too, and that's why they did it. So I'll go into that. I'll be going into the NBA. Like I said, there's only a couple games tomorrow, and hopefully we get this knockout. If the Pacers get past the Celtics, they're probably odds-on favorite to at least make the finals of this in-season tournament, and I think there's a good chance they do. And it'd be a good case of being over the target. I imagine the Pacers winning it, and then if you combine the Pacers-Kings combination, if that turns out to be right, I'd imagine that had to be like 50-1 odds or something like that, because I just imagine it's probably the same as their odds to win the whole thing if, Vegas is looking at it from a competitive standpoint. So if anyone knows what the opening odds of the tournament were, I'd be curious to know. I probably should have looked at them. It would have helped me probably a little more. But sometimes I don't think Vegas cares about the odds. There's teams that'll open plus 500 or plus 5,000 all the time and make runs, win their conferences, win their divisions, win way more than they were supposed to. So, especially if the public isn't all over a team, I don't think it's going to be one where the Vegas is going to mind paying out the few people that did take whoever it might be. But yeah, if you do know the opening lines, I tried finding them. I couldn't find anything too conclusive. So I'm curious where they were both ranked. And again, they might both get eliminated tonight. But I just have a feeling about them. So those are the plays I like. So as I always say, everyone that's shown support, we're growing at a good rate. We're doing well, obviously. Everyone that's been with us from the beginning, it's been a long time. It's been more than a year almost now. It's been over a year since the first channel was shut down. And this one, again, it seems as long as I don't apply, which I'm not going to do, will be good. And just the amount of support, new people that are seeing how scripted these sports are that I'm seeing comments from. I appreciate everyone that gives a channel a chance, and just everyone that shows love in the Discord. I always try and make the Discord as positive, and it's a good movement. Every day I'm just seeing more and more people point out some very interesting things that they're noticing about how rigged these sports actually are. So it'll be interesting going forward. Didn't want to make this too long. I just kind of wanted to go into detail as to why I'll be transitioning. Like I said, I'll still post plays on Buy Me a Coffee. It's just there's nothing I can't do on Patreon there's nothing on Patreon that I can't do. So on the Buy Me a Coffee, I can't post videos, which I like to do, obviously. I post early videos. That should be a nice perk. And not being able to do that's a huge thing. So I thought, okay, I'll be able to do videos, make it a little bit more convenient for the people. And I know a lot of people just prefer it to buy me a coffee. I know a lot of people don't even know what the hell buy me a coffee is. So since a lot of people were requesting different types of videos, I thought, all right, I'll just try and go that route instead of, trying to monetize it and do it that way, because I'm almost positive I'll get shut down if I do. So I figured anyone that's already on my buy me a coffee, you're not gonna, you're grandfathered in. I appreciate everybody that's shown support. So I'll definitely, the easiest way, whether it's setting up a free membership, whatever it is, I'll make sure you can just transition over and get all the same content that you were getting, and then it'll be a lot more too. And anybody new that wants to check it out, like I said, unlike a lot of other people, I do try and at least post every night or week our results, so you can see, okay, you know what, not working out for me, or yeah, the system's working, these extra picks are helping out, and it's worth it, which obviously would be amazing. That's what I hope the case is. I can never guarantee profits, but I can say with my system, I do my best to make sure that more often than not we're profiting, and over the long term, we almost always profit on the course of the seasons, especially some of these sports that not many people are watching. We have some bad ruts. We just had a bad rut in the NBA. In college basketball, we had a couple of rough ones where we got hooked, leg 3 losses. But over the course of the year, looking at hockey, looking at college basketball, a lot of these sports in general, especially multiple seasons, some of the highest hit rates we've had has been like the lesser sports, not the NFL or the NBA, but it's been hockey, it's been college basketball, it's been tennis. We did really well on too. We were doing really good on tennis, just trying to find some challengers. There's so much out there. It's just a matter of trying to see where the public's at and also where the story's at. So I know this was longer, but I wanted to cover a couple different sports, kind of go into why I'm going to be not reformatting, but just condensing and making all this subscription service and all the exclusive stuff under one umbrella where everybody can access it a little bit easier. And I really wanted to go into the in-season tournament because I did find that interesting, and it'll be interesting if we're right and the Pacers wind up doing it. And again, the one good thing is I think the winner of the in-season tournament we can immediately eliminate from the NBA Finals picture. I just don't think they're going to win both. Again, I know I said it twice already. It just seems like the NBA's way of copying wrestling. Okay, let's get some draws. Now we can call the Pacers champions, or whoever wins this in-season tournament, and they'll be the champions. I think it's one of the stupidest things they could have done. As far as if they're really trying to convince people it's real, it makes no sense. It takes away from the championship, in my opinion. But at the same time, they're doing FIBA. They got the Olympics. They have the All-Star game. They have this now. It's not like they have any shame. Whatever's going to get ratings and whatever's going to push certain teams, get people to buy jerseys, get people to buy tickets, that's what they're going to do. So it's just going to get more and more outlandish, in my opinion. But we'll see how this in-season tournament goes. We've seen choking, we've seen low blows, we've seen ejections. So I'm just waiting for some guy to get sucker punched or something. Pelicans, Kings seems like a game we might see something like that. So we'll have to see what happens. But as I always say, take care and happy earnings.